So great, I don't have a mark on my face, and I upset Sonny Liston, and I just turned 22 years old. I must be the greatest. I told the world, I talk to God every day. If God's with the king, no matter if you're just the same. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world.
I said, can I be a legend? Search your soul and answer me this question. Do you think I have what it takes to be great, but still be humble and learn from my mistakes? Shit.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a special championship pregame show of This Just In. You know who I am. I am the Justin of This Just In. And I'm quite sure y'all are accustomed to Brian Bolster. He's almost like a regular on the show now. Who you don't know or may not know is Joe Morley. So, Joe, introduce yourself, man. Yeah, I think Joe still has his mic.
What's going on there, Joe Morley? Sorry. Yeah, I'm Joe Morley. Joe Morley Sports on Instagram and also Friday Night Wars on Instagram and YouTube as well.
So everyone knows that Brian is a Titans fan. So before we start the show, you always have to tell the viewers what team you're supporting. Though I guess we can tell by the shirt, Joe. So, but go right ahead. I'll leave it up to you.
Who am I supporting? I'm supporting the Raiders. I know they're not playing this weekend, but hey, I'm supporting them.
And so sorry, Brian. I did pick you to actually get past Baltimore. That didn't exactly work out, but
no, it didn't. And I'm still a little salty about the logo stomping, the running off the field, no shaking hands. But I'm trying to move on. I was past that, Justin. I was way past that. You're bringing up bad memories for me, man.
Oh, so sorry. I'm accustomed to doing that with Adam. So let me just stop now. Let's jump right into it, guys. We know what is at stake. Berth in the Super Bowl. First, we start with the Chiefs Packers. Oh my gosh, previewing the Super Bowl already. But yes, we start with the Buccaneers and Packers, and then obviously on to the Bills and the Chiefs. So, guys, both of these matchups are, they actually happen during the regular season. For y'all, do we throw out what happened in the regular season, or do you think that has a stake in what goes on today?
I mean, you can't completely, but you should not expect the same result at all. There are snippets from that game, clues that you can look for and see if that is established early in this game. For starters, the Bucs' ability to stop the run game. That's really what happened in that first matchup. They stopped the run game. That enables you to put pressure on Aaron Rodgers without having to take too many risks. He makes one mistake, and then it just kind of snowballed from there, right? So I think if you're expecting it to be a blowout, then you're definitely reading too much into it. But there are snippets from that game that you can apply to this one. But again, to be clear, just like snippets here and there with Vita Vea coming back and healthy.
Yeah, I'm not reading too much into the matchups on any of these games because they happen so early in the season when you're still learning as a team and you're still moving. And every team, all four of these teams are a lot different than what they were in week 6.
I tend to agree. Particularly, though, I still am concerned, obviously, as a big Packers fan, their ability to make Green Bay one-dimensional. They have two tremendous inside linebackers in Levante David and Devin White. And their, sideline-to-sideline speed really caused some problems, especially with, or like the zone running scheme that these Shanahan disciples love to run. They wreak havoc on that. Turn this into a one-dimensional passing team. And then, as Brian alluded to, we made two mistakes. One, I think the corner kind of fooled Aaron, and then the other trying to force Devontae into double or triple coverage, and that didn't work out. I didn't get a chance to watch the Bills-Chiefs game, to be quite honest, but we've seen, I think, since the Hail Mary to, against Arizona, Buffalo Bills have been on a tear. So I don't know how much of that game do you go into that, or do you take away from that 9-point defeat that Buffalo suffered. But this is a tale of two great offenses. And guys, in that vein, I want to touch on some injuries first before we actually get into the actual two games. There are some serious injuries on in both matchups. For you, which is the major or which is the biggest injury or which injury will have the biggest impact going forward in these two matchups?
So for me, on the Buck side, Antonio Brown's going to be out. I don't think that's that big a deal. It obviously would be nice to have him. That's not that big a deal to me. They have some weapons. They'll be fine. It's really more about protection and being able to run the football themselves. To me, the biggest thing, and it's still a question mark as of 5 minutes ago when I looked, but is Antoine Winfield Jr. If he's out, it's a wrap. Wow. I don't want to go too extreme, but at the same time, yeah, it's a wrap. So what a lot of modern defenses have that is their strength now is their secondary. The Bucks are the team that's made it this far that's an absolute out, right? Their secondary is inconsistent, and I'd say that's nice, right? They're inconsistent. They can make big plays, and really that's Antoine Winfield Jr. to a T. He gives up big plays, but he makes big plays. So with him, they have an ability for high upside. Without him, I think you lose some of that upside. It's all the big play ability, giving that up, that is. So for me, that's the key one that I've got my eyes on. And then kind of in the same vein for that same game, we mentioned Vita Vea coming back, huge. But for the Packers side, Davante Adams is healthy this time. Last time he wasn't. And to me, that's a really, really big deal. He's dealt with a lot of those soft tissue injuries a lot throughout his career, and you're not the same when you're like that. That can help that secondary that does have those weaknesses play a little bit more tightly to you and more aggressive. I would fully expect Davante Adams to have some of those cornerbacks like Jamal Dean, Carlton Davis slipping and falling today. It's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about the Antonio Brown injury. It's not like, he does make a factor, but I think with Scotty Miller and the rest of the receiving core that they have, it just steps up. But like Brian said, if you start losing people on your defense, which you're gonna need against Aaron Rodgers, that's where you're gonna feel it. But injury wise in that game, I'm not really seeing it. I think they're both ready to go. And if they lose somebody like Antonio Brown, like really has he been that? He's made a little bit of noise, but has he been that deciding factor that we've all thought he was capable of, like he's been in the past? No, I haven't seen it.
I agree with y'all, guys. I'm going to get to the Antoine Winfield point because I think, to me, that is the biggest injury concern in both matchups. Of course, we know Patrick Mahomes has that injured left big toe, I want to say, and that obviously will limit his mobility somewhat. I think he was dealing with that in the divisional matchup against Cleveland. So that bears watching, and I think both Sammy Watkins and Le'Veon Bell are no-go today. But obviously with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you can like Le'Veon Bell is not needed, and we don't have to go through the entire receiving core for Chiefs no duty because like when you have Tyreek Hill, you have the tight end. Oh my gosh, sorry, words are bad. For me today, Travis Kelce, and then you go through like Mecole Hardman. Like it'll be nice to have Sammy Watkins, but that's just like a plethora of riches. So for me, yeah, it's Antoine Winfield, and it's because of what Green Bay did with LA that I found so interesting. Brian, you would love this more than anyone else. I got to saw the All-22 finally against LA, and it was interesting what they did for stretches. They had both, and I mean by they, Green Bay obviously. They played two backs in the backfield in the shotgun formation a lot with Aaron Rodgers. One side, Aaron Jones, and the other, I want to say it was A.J. Dillon. So what they did, first they would put Aaron Jones into motion to find out, obviously, if they're in man or in zone. And for some odd reason, LA was so afraid of Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Allen Lazard that they had two safeties back for most of the game. So the trick that Matt LaFleur did, he put Aaron Jones in motion to take away one of those linebackers. So now you're left with a four-man front and one linebacker against A.J. Dillon. And as you know, that's like a numbers disadvantage. And they ran against that look the entire day. So where I bring Antoine Winfield in is what do you do if you're Tampa Bay? Are you going to sit down in the zone Are you going to play man to man? Are you going to leave two safeties back? Or are you going to bring up a safety to deal with the run? Because again, everything that plays into Packers' hands. If you bring a safety into the run, then you're exposing, downfield deep for Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Alan Lazard. Are you prepared to leave Davante Adams on an island with one of your cornerbacks? I would hope not for your sake. So yeah, I think that injury to Antoine Winfield is a huge situation going on.
So going back to the Rams game, they had two safeties back for a reason, right? Like we saw that with Alan Lazard. He should have caught two bombs. He caught the one, dropped the other. Like that was the sole reason, because they know that's coming. Eventually, they had to give up that and come in for the run game, and that's really when they burnt them deep. But as far as the Bucs matchup, Todd Bowles has been on record saying, we're blitzing them. He's going to leave Davante Adams in one-on-one situations. He's going to trust that, hey, we might give up some big plays, but we're going to create more big plays ourselves. And, that makes me hesitant at first, but I actually think it's the right mindset to go in with. If the Bucs are going to win, it's going to be through turnovers. I don't think they have any other route. That defense, to me, is the most overrated defense all year. They are up and down.
Whoa.
Oh, easy,
Whoa.
guys. They aren't that good on defense. Like
Joe, if you want to stop him at any point, you could go right ahead. Don't let.
I'm just saying, how do you overrate a top 10 defense? How is a top 10 defense overrated?
Well, mine has been around top 10, and it is overrated in my estimation. So I understand what he's saying.
Well, I actually think the Green Bay Packers defense is underrated. But the reason that the Bucs defense is overrated is because people just point to the top 10 in points given up, right? Which matters. But they're up and down. This is not, the Rams defense. This is not the Steelers defense or even the Ravens, one that's consistent. And it's like, okay, if we get to 28 points, we're safe. This is a defense that will get burnt. They can create turnovers, so they're going to have up and down games. But I think it's overrating them to just blanket statement, call this a great defense, a top 5-ish defense. I think that's out of hand. And other than that Packers game, which is just a weird one to continue to look back on with the year that Aaron Rodgers has had, they've been burnt by the good quarterbacks. They truly have all year.
Brian, without that defense, do they win that game against the Saints last week? No, the defense is what puts them in that situation. You could say Tom Brady all this, but the defense is what's putting them right there in good situations every game this time.
Okay, but hold on. It's not every game. Like, I'll give you, yes, they put them in good situations against the Saints. They're the thing that definitely pushed them over the top. The Bucs could have won the game without the turnovers. They could have, but the defense took over. You have a point there. But my point is, this has not been every game. It's been some games, they get 2 to 3 turnovers. Some games, they get roasted. And I think we see one or the other here. And if it goes shootout, I think that's advantage to the Packers.
I must agree. So I'm glad that you started to tilt this way, guys, because we're going to get right into it first. What are the keys to victory for each team? And I'm going to let you all decide which game you want to start with and which team you want to start with. So I'll start with Joe. Go ahead.
Well, I think the keys for the Buccaneers is to get and stop. I think it's the key for both teams. You got to get to the quarterback. If the Buccaneers allow Tom Brady to sit back there, he's going to tear them apart. If they allow Aaron Rodgers to sit back there, he's going to tear them apart. So I think that's where it comes down to, because, and it's crazy because both of them are top offenses, both of them are top defenses. So you're looking at just 1 or 2 plays. So like Brian said, if you can get a turnover and you can be one of those teams that make the first or 1 or 2 turnovers, you're probably going to win this game. So you got your pass rush has to be on today for either one of these teams. I think that's the key of the game for both, is get to the quarterback.
Brian?
That's exactly right. I agree. It's going to come down to the run game first, right? The quarterback who's not getting the run game support is going to be the quarterback that's just dropping back time after time and is going to have pressure. Again, I give the advantage to the Packers in that. And the reason that I say they're a little underrated on defense, and I'd say better, is because their strength is in the secondary, right? The Buccaneers' strength is with the linebackers, which they have great linebackers, but I believe that's the least important unit on your defense. right? So I think that the Packers are better equipped if their pass rush isn't quite getting there. And they have Zadarius Smith, who I think is arguably one of the more underrated pass rushers in the league. But it's all going to start with the run game. We've seen both teams dominate some games, and we've seen both teams have zero in the run game. So I think the possibility is there for both.
For me, you just can't go back to being one-dimensional. This is for me, for the Packers now. Just have to be able to establish a run. Because if Tampa Bay finds a way to make you one-dimensional, I think that front seven, I think that's the underrated part for Tampa Bay for me. Because they still have people like Ndamukong Suh, Jason Pierre-Paul, Shaquille Barrett. They can get after you if, they know all you're doing is dropping back and pass. So I think first on the Packers side, they have to be able to run the football. And what you saw against LA, where you're running out of these sets, where you don't know whether it's run or pass, when it looks exactly the same. And I think if you can stay balanced and get into favorable third down, get ahead the chains, win first and second down, then I think that's the key for the Packers. And as Joe said, for the Buccaneers, you have to force turnovers. I don't think, if you don't create turnovers, you just sit down and allow the Packers to do what they want to do, it's going to be a very, very long day. And what is missed about this team is that Green Bay leads the league, I think, in time of possession. So that means even less opportunities for Brady to score. So if you don't get after them, if you don't put them in second and long and third and long, then this is going to be a very, very, very long day. I feel like we've spent all day on Packers and Buccaneers. So, guys, let's get to the Bills because they're facing, Patrick Mahomes has cleared concussion protocol and will play. So what must the Bills do to get the huge upset in Arrowhead?
Justin, I got to take just one step back really quick. One step back. Sure. And that's just because Ronald Jones with that hamstring, right? If he goes down, if Leonard Fournette is the sole running back, I'm like number one Leonard Fournette hater. I think he stinks. So I think that's got to be, you got to keep your eye on that.
Wait, hold on. A guy that has won Super Bowl, correct me if I'm wrong, this guy has won Super Bowls that was Blunt, with Garrett Blunt. You honestly do not like Leonard Fournette?
No, I think he stinks. I think he's nice to have as the number two guy, but Ronald Jones is the back that matters for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But some fun things to keep your eye on that aren't necessarily schematic. Keep your eyes on the Buccaneers center, number 66, probably the nastiest offensive lineman in the league. So you've got to keep your eyes on him. Is he being nasty but avoiding penalties? And then the one that we all know, Ndamukong Suh. He's going to do something to Aaron Rodgers. The question is it before the whistle or after the whistle? I just got to get that out. And for the Bills and Chiefs, I'll just say, and I'll toss it to Joe real quick because I've been talking a while, but I think that these teams are mirror images of each other, and it's just that the Chiefs are a slightly better version.
So, Joe, the Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette statement, I know that's way out there, so I'll let you respond to that.
I can't believe that he's like Leonard Fournette. Maybe he's not an elite running back, but he's a good run. Anybody that runs for 1,000 yards in this league or plays really good, and they carry. Leonard Fournette was carrying his team for the Jacksonville Jaguars for a couple years. He was carrying that team, and you can't say he wasn't. They were putting him on the back. He was putting him on the back like Greg Jennings in Madden, and he was taking it. And you just hate on him. And I don't know why Jacksonville ran him out of town, but I mean, just in the last couple games for the playoffs, has been good. And yeah, he's not going to be your all-star elite guy, but what I would take him on my team. I'll tell you that right now.
Wait, you would take him on your team?
I would take Leonard Fournette. If I was building a team, Leonard Fournette can come to my team. Yes. I don't know what Brian is over there saying. Leonard Fournette is not an NFL running back, not all this. I understand what Ronald Jones can do, but what was Ronald Jones before this year? Nothing. So that means Leonard Fournette's teaching him something.
Well, to be fair, I will say this. I think Ronald Jones is better of the two, and I agree with Adam. I'm so accustomed. I agree with Brian in that when we played him, and I've seen Ronald Jones enough, he is a hard bat to take down on first contact and one-on-one. Like, he's almost impossible to bring down. So I will agree. I just don't think Leonard Fournette is as bad as Brian thinks he is.
I think he stinks. He stinks. He's not a starting running back for any team in the league. I'm not saying he's not an NFL quarterback or running back, but he's not a starting level running back at all. I mean, his big claim to fame is he was like the Jags' best player when they stunk, and he ran. He's famous for being a super inefficient running back that is like the red flag for never drafting a running back in the top 5.
Pump the brakes,
before
Brent.
even the big contract.
This is a team that is one bad referee call, because I do believe that had the referees just not, had they just let the player run, because a lot of people forget in that AFC title game against Patriots, they were up by 2 scores and should have been 3. I think there's a fumble recovery that they take back for a touchdown. Leonard Fournette is the best player, at least offensively, for a team that should have been in Super Bowl. So I'm not there with the hate. No, sorry, Brian. I'm not.
It's not Blake Bortles. You're not giving Blake Bortles the nod there.
Where is Blake Bortles? No, I saw he was backing up for somebody. Well, he's in LA. Where is Blake Bortles?
Yeah, I think it was the Rams.
Oh my God, he's terrible. So I'm going to get back to Joe.
Let's get back to the Chiefs.
Keys to victory for Buffalo. How does Buffalo pull off this upset?
They got to control the time. Keep Patrick Mahomes off. Patrick Mahomes is dealing with turf toe now, is what they're saying. So keep him off the field, keep him on, and then when he's on the field, I don't know. It's kind of tough because you don't want to blitz Patrick Mahomes, because all the stats show that when you blitz Patrick Mahomes, he lights you up. So they got to just sit back, play their defense. And I just think the one thing to beat them, and this is what it's proven, because there's only been one team that actually really beat the Chiefs this year, and I'm not to brag, but they're right here, right? There's only one team that really beat them, and that's because they put up points. You can stop them you could stop them for a little bit, 1 or 2 drives, but you better start putting up points, and that's where it comes down to. Josh Allen can't make the mistakes. He has to put up points every time he's on the field.
Yeah, this is a great matchup. Again, I think they're a bit of a mirror image. I can argue a case for Josh Allen to be the MVP this year. I won't. If I had a vote, it'd go to Aaron Rodgers. But I think no quarterback in the league has had more on his plate in terms of offensive weight to carry than Josh Allen. I think the only other one in the conversation is Patrick Mahomes. I mean, the Bills act like they have Leonard Fournette at running back. They don't even run the ball. They don't run the ball at all. Oh, they're just like, we'll throw it 26 straight times. Like, they don't care about the run game. It's pretty fun to watch. But to me, Joe's exactly right. Are we going to see a Josh Allen mistake? Because even in his great game, you see 2 or 3 plays that are like right on the edge of disaster. And one other thing to note, will Leslie Frazier dial up the pressure and go against what Joe said because of the turf toe? Is he going to try to go after Patrick Mahomes and possibly a lack of mobility?
I think he has to, because the one thing that Joe missed, and they thought he would have brought it up, considering his team was the only team to beat them, or at least the starters this year, is Josh Jacobs. You have to be able to run the football and keep Patrick Mahomes on the side for a bit and control that clock. And as you just mentioned, Brian, Buffalo cannot do that. Buffalo does not even pretend to run the football. You get into a shootout with these guys, you're going to lose. And in my estimation, if you can't at least control the clock or time of possession. So in my estimation, from the time I heard that Patrick Mahomes will play, and I told Neil off camera that there is no way that Patrick Mahomes misses this game. Like, the NFL is not crazy. Like, I don't care about any independent neurologist. Like, really, like, there's so much money to be made. No way Patrick Mahomes is missing this game. So I don't give the Buffalo Bills any chance whatsoever. And I love Buffalo. I would love to see Buffalo get back to Super Bowl, because I grew up in an age where I watched all 4 Super Bowls that they lost in a row. And that's painful. But I don't give them a chance, because I think Leslie Frazier is going to have to dial up the pressure. And we all know Patrick Mahomes loves that. And on the other side, they just can't keep Patrick Mahomes off the field because they just can't run the football. And you mentioned it perfectly, Brian. Josh Allen is always due for a mistake here and there. I saw him torch Miami in the season ender, and he threw an interception in that game. Like, the best of Josh Allen there's an interception coming once you get your hands on it. So it pains me to say this because I truly love Buffalo and I would love to see them get to the Super Bowl. For obvious reasons, I think I'd match up better with them than Kansas City. But I don't give them a hell of a chance. So on the flip side, guys, what must Kansas City do well? Avoid the upset.
Well, they have a great secondary. They got playmakers. They're young, but Tyrann Mathieu is going to hold that group down. And I know that defensive line has been a little inconsistent, but at the end of the day, you have Frank Clark and Chris Jones, and they're going to be able to get some pressure on Josh Allen. Now, the Chiefs don't run the ball particularly well at all either, but I'm with you. Like, you got to give Mahomes the edge. It's hard for me to see them losing this game, but I do think it's going to be really close, especially with Patrick Mahomes possibly really lacking mobility. He scrambles on third down more than any quarterback outside of Lamar Jackson. So I think that's a big piece of their game, even if it's not scrambling for first downs, just being behind the line of scrimmage for what seems like 10, 15 seconds and then eventually finding Tyreek Hill on the complete opposite side of the field. So to me, again, it just comes down to the Chiefs being a slightly better version of the Bills. I think the Bills, like you mentioned, are going to have to run the ball better. Against the Ravens, they had 2 yards rushing in the first half. So I think it's going to have to come from Josh Allen.
See, if you go back and you look at, I mean, we're talking about regular season. When the Raiders beat him, it wasn't just Josh Jacobs. So it's not going to be the running game. Derek Carr lit him up. Derek Carr put up 340 yards on him. He put 3 touchdowns on him. Josh Jacobs didn't go over 100 yards in that game. They did give to him.
Oh.
No, he didn't. And then if you look at when the Bills played the Chiefs, they played the next week after the Chiefs lost to the Raiders. That's when they played. And the Chiefs said they had to establish the run. And that's when Clyde Edwards-Helaire went off for 160 yards. That was like his best game of the whole season. We're not going to see that today. That whole running game was like a one-time thing, and it was gone. And I think they looked at the Tennessee tape because Buffalo got beat up by Derrick Henry the week before. Then they came in and ran the ball with CEH. So I think Josh Allen lights his defense up today. I think he's going to have all day to sit back there. I understand their D line, but that Buffalo offensive line I think is a little underrated. We're always talking about the running backs. Buffalo doesn't have they don't have running backs. They're not a good running game. But when they need a first down, they get it. When they need a big run, they get it. And that's the crazy thing about that team is we've been riding Buffalo off all season. I've been guilty of it sometimes. I'm like, nah, Buffalo, it's going to be done. But without that Arizona game, without the Hail Mary to DeAndre Hopkins at the end of that game, Buffalo's sitting on a 12-game winning streak right now. It's unbelievable how hot they are. And we're saying that they have a zero chance to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs aren't playing good. You have an injured Patrick Mahomes, and you just let Baker Mayfield put some points up on that defense. Come on, Josh Allen's gonna have.
No, well, not Mayfield. I'd rather say Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt.
Oh man, the Cleveland fans are gonna come after you for saying Baker didn't play great last weekend. But I like it, Joe, because when you do look at the Bills' losses. Have a Hail Mary when Arizona was red hot. They have, a Tuesday night loss to the Titans because of the COVID mess. So that's kind of weird. And then they lost to the Chiefs. Josh Allen didn't play very well that game. And that's something to keep your eye on. He only completed 52% of his passes. But I don't think that's going to happen again. I think we've got 2 great games ahead of us. I think both will be close. I think the second one, tonight's game, the Chiefs-Bills one, is going to be high scoring. In my opinion, I think they have to get to 35 to win.
Well, you got the number one offense.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
You got the number one offense versus the number two offense. They're gonna put up some points, and they're both middle of the pack. If Buffalo was smart, Leonard Fournette would have been a great running back for them.
He would have gotten them maybe 3 rushing yards in the first half last week instead of 2.
Well, 1 more yard than they had in that first half. So I'm glad that y'all allowed me this perfect segue with Josh Allen. And when you look at the quarterbacks left in this field, you can argue they have been the 4 best for the season. Some may argue Deshaun Watson may be in there. Who has the greatest pressure going into today's games?
Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, easily, in my opinion. I mean, they have kind of the NFC Championship woes. They're the favorite. I'd say most people are considering them not only the favorite in their matchup, but the favorite in the league at whole. Vegas considers them to be a larger favorite over the Bucs than Chiefs over the Bills. So to me, they've got to be the biggest or have the most pressure. They're at Lambeau. Teams don't go in there in the playoffs and win.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Brian. I think it's the Packers. Everything that they've done, the drafting of the, not taking the wide receiver and everything that built up to this moment.
Hey, no, let's not. You're talking about bad memories, but let's not bring up Jordan.
Yeah, but this is where that pressure comes from, because if the Green Bay Packers lose today, you don't think people are going to bring that up and be like, if you would have just drafted a wide receiver, they would have done this. It would have been a lot different. So I think the pressure's on them, because Buffalo, nobody expected Josh Allen and Buffalo Bills to be this far. They're already exceeding expectations. We expected them to be good, but we're not expecting them. Tampa Bay, it is what it is. But people are going to be like, oh, it's the first year with Tom Brady. It's a system. He'll learn it. He'll be back next year. And then with the Chiefs, I mean, it is what it is. If they lose, they already got their Super Bowl, and that's what people are going to be like, they already got it. But Aaron Rodgers is the one that people are looking at this weekend going, if you really consider yourself to be in Tom Brady's level, this is where you win. And you knock out Tom Brady off on the way there. So I mean, I'm not a big Tom Brady lover like somebody in this, but
we can bring you back on the show anytime, then, Joel. You're perfect for this show. We'll have you back on next week. I have to agree with y'all guys. And that's even by a process of elimination. As you correctly said, Joel, no one expected Josh Allen to be here. Patrick Mahomes is 24, 25, and he already has a Super Bowl. So people will say he has time. And Tom Brady already has his legacy, like 9 Super Bowl appearances and 6 titles. And part of the problem is I think Aaron kind of put this pressure on himself, because he has been on record as saying all he wants is an NFC title game at home. There are clips of him sitting down with Jordy Nelson during, I want to say it's either the Atlanta loss. Yeah, I think it's the Atlanta loss. Yeah, where you hear him say, we need to get one of these at home. No, you have it at home. There are no more excuses. No, you have the league's highest rated offense. You have Devontae Adams. You have one of the best running attacks in the league, and not just where you're relying on a bell cow back like Brian's Titans, who rely on Derrick Henry. You have 3 pretty good running backs: Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, A.J. Dillon. You have a fantastic offensive line, and improving defense. It's going to be cold. It's going to be snowing. You have a tremendous head coach who I think does not get enough credit in Matt LaFleur. There's really no excuse for you not to perform. So I have to agree, guys. All the pressure is there on Aaron Rodgers. So let's jump ahead a bit. Let us say that Aaron Rodgers does get past Tom, and he does add a second Super Bowl ring to his trophy case. Where do you put Rodgers in the all-time ranks of quarterbacks?
I mean, for me, he still can't be higher than 4th. And I would start considering, 4th, 5th spot. That's probably where he'll end up. He'll probably end up being at my 5th spot anyways, even with a loss today. Although that would be a pretty rough look for him, being 1-3 in NFC Championship games and not having. Well, yeah, after today, yeah, it'd be 1-4. But the previous 4 games, even the one that he won, he did not play well in at all. I know you can't play well in every game, but for me, yeah, he's a top 5 quarterback all time now. The Super Bowl would confirm that.
Who are the 4, just before you get to Joe, who are the 4 that you would have above him, though, by the way?
So it would have to be Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Joe Montana. Those are the 3 that have to be above him right now. Then it does muddy the water. How far back are we going? Are we going to consider Johnny Unitas, those types of quarterbacks as well? But to me, those 3, even with the Super Bowl win, he is absolutely not ahead of.
Joe is shaking his head, so he doesn't agree. So I have to let Joe come in right now.
I can agree with Joe Montana and Tom Brady, but you're just gonna throw Peyton Manning right above Aaron Rodgers just like that,
Yeah.
Even like you're saying, if Aaron Rodgers wins this week and has his second ring, him and Peyton Manning will have the same amount, right? Then you got to look at the weapons that Peyton Manning had. Peyton Manning was always surrounded. Tell me he wasn't. Marvin Harrison, isn't he in the Hall of Fame? Is Reggie Wayne going to probably be in the Hall of Fame? Probably there. Then you look at what he had in Denver with Thomas and all the weapons there. So Aaron Rodgers is doing this all by himself. He has Devontae Adams, yes. But last year, how long was Devontae Adams off the field? And he carried him to a good playoff season, right?
Yeah, he was
Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning. If Aaron Rodgers gets this, he's top 3. He has to be top 3 in history.
I like this guy. Like, he's coming back on my show again. Sorry, Brian. I like this guy.
Yeah, Brian.
I mean, are we going to forget that Peyton Manning has more MVPs, more All-Pros?
By one.
He's taken worse defenses to the championship games. And let's factor this in. What conference was Peyton Manning in? The AFC. So he was going against the GOAT. Aaron Rodgers has been in the NFC. It's been a cakewalk in the NFC compared to the AFC. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody says.
Come on, bro.
On the AFC, you have Tom Brady and the Patriots, greatest dynasty in sports history. You have Big Ben and the Steelers. That's up there as maybe the number 2, 3 franchise in NFL history. Then you've got, obviously, the Colts with Peyton Manning. And then Peyton Manning doesn't get the excuse, I guess, of Mahomes and the Chiefs. But
no,
they're in the AFC and they're good too.
Yeah, I can bring it back, Joe, because I have to agree. If Aaron wins this, and the two that you called, I completely agree with. Joe Montana and Brady are the only ones for me that'll be, without argument, better than Aaron. Because when you look at his career, he's going to get a 3rd MVP this season. I don't think there's a shadow of a doubt about that. So I think Peyton has 4 and he would have 3. Look at the stats now. I know you've done a fantastic series, Brian, documenting the shift in quarterback culture over the decades. But even like Tom Brady might have ushered in an era of protecting the football, but Aaron Rodgers has completely mastered it. So when I look at the stats and I look at the accolades, really there's not much separating Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers. And if Aaron Rodgers wins this Super Bowl, it will be because he is the best player on this team. When Peyton won his second, he was being dragged. His corpse was literally being dragged over the finish by that great defense. To the point, I think people forgot. I want to say it was Brock Osweiler, or is it Brock Osweiler that was starting games?
Yeah.
They benched Peyton Manning for Brock Osweiler, a guy who can't even back up any team in the NFL right now. That is what you look like the second Super Bowl title you win. If Aaron wins this Super Bowl, he will be the best player on an historic offense. So that is why I would catapult him above Peyton Manning and put him at 3. Here's the thing: if somebody was supposed to put him at 4 and had somebody else at 3, it wouldn't even be Peyton Manning for me. If there's an argument for 3 over Aaron Rodgers, it would actually be John Elway in my estimation. Because when I look at Peyton Manning's interception count, right? Gosh damn it, it's really, really high. For someone who is supposed to be such a master at pre-snap reads and control his offense, those interceptions, Brian, they're just too high.
I mean, I'm not going to say it's completely flawless. The second Super Bowl is definitely something that people are going to point to. But injuries obviously played their role in the full, I call it the neckhead noodle arm season. But I got to clear some things up, all right? Peyton Manning had 5 MVPs, and he had 7 All-Pros.
5 MVPs?
5 MVPs and 7 All-Pros. The era, I know people don't believe me all the time, but from the year 2000, Peyton Manning started in 1998, I believe, has changed so dramatically to now. And Peyton Manning had a 55 touchdown, 10 interception season. Absolutely insane. He had another one, 49 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, which I would argue for the time period is much better than Aaron Rodgers' season this year. Now, one thing is Peyton Manning, he was known as like the big brain quarterback, but if he was in today's offenses, he would be able to protect the football so much more. If he was in these Kyle Shanahan offenses that we've seen MVP-esque seasons out of Jimmy G, Jared Goff, like, come on now. Peyton Manning would be lighting it up. He did it with static offense, no motion, no nothing. Honestly,
But to be
Tom
fair,
Brady's
Brand,
been kind of similar.
I don't want to agree with you, but a lot of times Peyton Manning was his own offense, so I don't think that he's going to allow a Kyle Shanahan, a Matt LaFleur, a Sean McVay to call his offense. That is what he liked to run.
Peyton Manning would be getting killed today. He'd be getting killed today. He can't move. Look at
Tom Brady can't move.
He made Adam Gase look good, right? He made Adam Gase look good. But you can't stand there in the pocket like Peyton Manning used to do. There's no way he's moving out. Aaron Rodgers is good. Why? Because he rolls out. Tom Brady is on the back end of his career. Why? Because he can't move anymore.
Because he's 43. Move. That's probably why. Okay, hold on, though, Joe. You can continue. I just got to say one thing. I think you made my greatest point. Peyton Manning made Adam Gase look good. That's like maybe he should be over Joe Montana now. Maybe he should be number 2. He made Adam Gase look so good, he got 2 head coaching jobs.
2 head coaching jobs.
Well, look what Aaron Rodgers did for the dude over in Dallas right now.
Oh, come on. People are being too harsh on Mike McCarthy. I'm not saying he's like an all-time great coach. I'm not. But we're going way too harsh. If we want to be fair to the man, he got that Dallas Cowboys to a respectable record. It wasn't good. Don't get me wrong. And he had Dak Prescott on pace to throw for like 8,000 yards this year. So maybe he helped out Aaron Rodgers along the way.
Having Ezekiel Elliott on the same roster, mind you, a team that should be run first, and you hired Mike McCarthy. I think of all the things that Jerry Jones has done, and believe you me, on the football aspect, I have seen the worst of Jerry Jones running Jimmy Johnson out of town. Hiring Mike McCarthy may be the second worst thing he has ever done. And Jerry has done some stupid things in the past, but I think this ranks right up there with running Jimmy Johnson out of town.
And I don't get the difference between Peyton Manning's 55 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, and this year 48 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. I mean, I would take the 48 and 5 over the 55 and 10.
I think Brandon's saying relative to,
because remember that 55-10 was, what do you have, 7 in one game where they was already blew them out? So really, did those extra touchdowns matter?
It's about the era, right? Like, that's the difference. Throwing 48 touchdowns is cool now, but it's not extra special. Like, Peyton Manning threw 49 touchdowns in 2004. Tom Brady threw 50 in 2007. Those were like landmark moments in history, right? The 55, that was the most ever, still is the most ever. And again, that was 7 years ago. I know, but that's a big difference in NFL offensive schemes. The low interception is cool, but like, look what Mahomes is doing. And to me, that's where Aaron Rodgers loses his standing for an all-time debate, is whatever he does, unless he gets to a minimum of 3 Super Bowls, Patrick Mahomes is going to obliterate. Like, Aaron Rodgers' claim to fame is efficiency.
Right.
That's going to be obliterated by all the new guys. It's going to be.
I don't think so. I think maybe 2 guys at the most. I think we called obviously Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. I don't think the other new guys are good enough to obliterate these records, but I do see where you're coming from.
I just mean, like, give it 10 years. I don't mean there's going to be 25 quarterbacks that just blow Aaron Rodgers away. But the next couple greats over the next 2 decades, they will have better efficiency than Aaron Rodgers. We've just seen that over time. We've seen that over time after time. So I think Aaron Rodgers, he's going to be up in the debate. Again, 4th or 5th for me, but it's hard for me to see him higher with less MVPs, less All-Pros than Peyton Manning, and then he doesn't have the Super Bowls, at least as of yet, to stack up with the other guys. But I would fully expect him to be a guy that's going to be pushing to play till 45. He looks in great shape, and that's going to be something that opens the window of opportunity for him.
So, Brian, obviously, so go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
If all these awards, all these MVPs mattered so much to you, and to make a great quarterback, if that's what matters, how come Terry Bradshaw's not in your top 3? He has 4 Super Bowls, right?
Yeah, but come on, you know why he's
It's
not
a
in my
different
top
era,
3.
though, right? It's a different era.
It is, but
compare him. If that's all you're taking is all these awards and putting Peyton Manning over Aaron Rodgers, that's what you're saying. Is awards mean everything over stats and over the play.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about dominance over your peers, right? And like record breakers, trend setters. That's what I'm talking about. Like Bradshaw's great, don't get me wrong, but he was not the greatest of his era, not even close. And for all fairness sake, the older generations definitely do just get like passed up. Like they just get completely passed up. That's what we do. Like we act like quarterback play started in 1980. I mean, it's not fair. Like Dan Marino's always one that people leave out. John Elway's one. I mean, to me, like I love Drew Brees. People put him in like top 3s, top 5s, and I just don't get it. Again, when you look at some of the trendsetters, like Dan Marino doesn't get enough credit for what he did in pushing offense forward. I think Peyton Manning did that. Tom Brady did that. The question with Aaron Rodgers is how much credit will he get for the transformation of the modern offense to efficiency, or is it going to go to coaching? And see, that's where I'm going to push back against all the Tom Brady haters that like, oh, it was just the system over there in New England. I'm going to say that then Aaron Rodgers, like this season, was just a product of the offensive system that made Matt Ryan, Jared Goff, and Jimmy G look like all-stars.
Well, at least he looks like a superstar compared to their all-stars. So,
no doubt, no doubt. He's taking it to another level.
So, from one great quarterback to another, if Tom Brady somehow, and we're hoping not, of course, well, at least me and Joe, if Tom Brady manages to win a 7th Super Bowl, is there any way that anyone could ever surpass his legacy?
No, there's no way that somebody can pass his legacy. There's still going to be people that are saying that like Aaron Rodgers is the GOAT and stuff like that. And it's been hilarious for me this season hearing people rank Tom Brady as the 23rd quarterback coming into the season, and the Bucs, they might go 8-8. Don't expect anything from him. And how quickly the narrative has changed to Tom Brady's getting carried and he's not that good and stuff like that. But there's just no way. The only quarterback that I'd give a chance as of now would be Patrick Mahomes. He's already at 3 AFC championship games, potentially 2 Super Bowl victories. Like, there's a chance for Patrick Mahomes, just the likelihood would be no. I mean, double-digit Super Bowl appearances is just absolutely insane.
See, and I don't think there's going to be any quarterbacks that do or did what Tom Brady did. And a lot of people forget about this. Tom Brady took pay cuts his whole career until this year. And to tell me that Patrick Mahomes or any of these other quarterbacks are willing to do that, no. You look at, you see what Deshaun Watson crying out now just to get out of a team. They're not going to take these pay cuts like Tom Brady did, because he understood, if I take a big contract, we ain't winning. And then he finally got tired because they weren't using that money correctly, and he went out and got paid. So there was a lot more than just talent and system and everything that went along with it to give that dynasty. And I don't know. I like Brian said, I think Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are set up good, but they have to win that second title this year or next year, and then maybe I'll put them in that discussion, because once those big contracts hit, I'm ruling Kansas City out.
I have to agree. I didn't think about that point, Joe, and that's an awesome point, because no one's taking pay cuts in this era, and even though it is rumored that Patrick Mahomes could have gotten more than $500 million, it's kind of hard to imagine that. But it is rumored that he did take a pay cut on that $500 million contract. But you're right, Joe. I don't think that's ever happening in today's football. I mean, look, as you correctly mentioned with Deshaun, he signed a huge contract. He has not even set in as yet. I think he's still on his rookie contract. That only kicks in the start of next season, and he already wants out. So, Brian is accustomed to this, but Joe, you're not. You are sitting down in a hot seat. You can't leave this show without giving a prediction of sorts. So I will start with you. Your winners in both games and exact scoreline.
I'm taking the Bills 34-17 over the Chiefs. How about that, Brian? You like that one, right?
I love it. I love it.
And you know what? I'm taking the Packers. I like it. I'm not scared about what happened in that first game. I think everybody's buying into the number one ranked rush defense, but sometimes it's just a position that you get put in when you got teams coming back on you and all they got to do is throw. It kind of messes up the ranking. So I'm going to take the Packers over the Bucks, and I'll take it 28-24. I'll take a close game in that one.
So we can hold you. I know Neil has a pen and he kind of writes down these things off screen. So we can hold you to 34-17 Buffalo Bills. We can hold you to that.
Oh, heck yeah. I never back down. Brian knows that. Once I throw it out there, it's mine.
Yeah, Joe's true to his word. I'm glad he gave us at least one close game.
Go ahead, Brian. Your predictions and scores.
All right, I'm ready for this. I can't remember how many weeks ago I said this, so I've got to stick with it too.
Yep.
I said it on your show. I think maybe even first. I'm going to go ahead and say 10 weeks ago. It probably wasn't that long ago. It's probably
not that long.
5. But anyway, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. They're going to win 38-31, and the Bucks are going to win 27-23.
So I can't argue against those picks. So I guess as it is my show, I really should give my predictions. So I'll start with Bills and Chiefs. I think that's going to be a shootout. So I'm going to go something crazy like 38 to 35 or 38 to 30, something around that age. I think somewhere in the 30s. But I'm giving Kansas City 38 in this game. So 38, I'm going to say, 38-35. And here's my shocker note. Are you ready for this, Brian and Joe?
Are you trying to reverse jinx your Packers right now?
Hell no. Hell no.
Let's hear it.
38-20 Green Bay.
Ah, that's no fun.
It isn't, but I watched the LA game, right? And their defense is obviously by far better than Tampa Bay, as you mentioned. Obviously, on the other side, Tampa Bay's offense is better. Green Bay scored what? They're in the 30s. I can't remember, but
32.
When I watched, 32. When I watched the game, I only watched live, and I watched it over again. We left a lot of points on the field, and I'm going to show you. The first drive, Aaron Rodgers airmails MVS right in front of the end zone, a pass that he doesn't typically miss. So we had to settle for a field goal, and we know we don't settle for field goals typically in the red zone, or as we like to call it, the goal zone. So we left 4 points there. We missed, or we muffed the extra point opportunity as a bad snap, so that's 5. And Alan Lazard puts down a dolly, like a sitter. That should have been a touchdown. So that's 7 and 4. That's 11 and 1, 12. And we scored 32 points in that game. I left 12 points on the field. I do think that we're going to score 38 in home today.
Hey, I'd love to see the Packers score 38. I just hope the Bucks score a little bit more than 20 so we can have a good game. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm hoping for great games. I'll be fine with either Super Bowl matchup. I think personally the most interesting would be Mahomes versus Brady. And then I just know I'm going to have to deal with a bunch of heat on social media if the Packers win. Although I've never said anything like Aaron Rodgers stinks or Tom Brady is better right now, but I know I'm going to hear it. I know I'm going to hear all the Aaron Rodgers is the GOAT talk. So I do kind of wish it.
You just have that Tom Brady lover mentality. That's what people see you as now, and that's what they built you around is Brian loves Tom Brady and everybody else sucks. That's the mentality that everybody knows you by now. And I don't know if you meant to do it, but it just what came to you. That's what came to you. Everybody knows. If you talk one bad thing about Tom Brady, Brian Bolstered Up Sports is gonna come after you. And that's how we know. But I'm with Justin. I want to see Aaron Rodgers take it. Hey, and if the Chiefs put up 17 points in the first quarter today, whatever. It is what it is. Hey, but here's the thing that I want people to remember, and I always throw this out there, is don't pay attention too much to the first quarter in both games. And Brian can, I don't know if you agree with me on this, but the first quarter is so too much adrenaline pumping, so much going on. The game planning, everybody has their first 15 plays scripted out, and they go off of that. I always wait till the end of the first quarter. It could, like in the Browns Steelers game when it was 28-0 at the end of the first quarter, I said, "Hey, calm down," and it was a totally different game the last 3 quarters. So just wait till that first quarter is over, and then we'll see a real game happen.
Well, for us in Green Bay, we need that first quarter because if any team, like, we start hot. That's the identity of our offense. Like, we typically, I think there are only 2 first possessions the entire season that we've not scored a touchdown on. So we need that first quarter, if more so than any other team. Even in the week 6 blow against the same Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we started 10-0, if my memory serves me correct, and then gave up 38 straight points. So if there's a team that needs that first quarter, it is the Green Bay Packers. So before we sign up, go ahead, Brian.
I was just going to say I'm right with Joe. First quarter, even for the Packers, I'd say don't worry about it. For all of these offenses, because it's a great quarterback thing especially, they dominate this time period. The most important part of a game, other than the very last crunch time minutes, is the first 5 minutes of the second half, the last 5 minutes of the first half, and that's where these quarterbacks make a killing. Even if it's just getting that last field goal, like that is massive. So, I'm with you there, Joe.
So before we sign out here, guys, I know you've given your predictions, but what is the Super Bowl matchup that you would love to see?
Well, for me, it's the Bucks and the Chiefs. I want to see the established GOAT versus the possibly, in my mind, the new young challenger that could amass at that point the Super Bowl numbers, the AFC Championship numbers. That would be awesome.
I just been on record that I don't want to see the State Farm Super Bowl. I don't want to see it. It could be anybody other than Patrick Mahomes versus who's in the Aaron Rodgers. I don't want to see it. That's the only matchup I don't care about. If Tom Brady makes it and he faces Josh Allen, that's cool. I just don't want the Super Bowl brought to you by State Farm, and then we're having to watch all these commercials about State Farm with the Patrick Price and the Rodgers rate and all this stuff. So that's the only matchup I'm not looking forward to seeing, but we'll probably get it, right? We'll probably get it.
That's a matchup I want to see. And it harkens back to Super Bowl I because that was Packers and Chiefs. So I'm hoping that, you get to relive, those 2 dynasties. And I just really would love to see a Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers shootout because we were robbed of that last year. Patrick Mahomes was injured when Packers visited Arrowhead, so we didn't get that matchup. And this will be their first matchup if they do indeed get to the Super Bowl. So obviously, as a Packers fan, I'm hoping Aaron gets the second ring, but more so as a lover of sports, I would love to see those 2 guys finally square off. And what better setting would it be than the Super Bowl? So, guys, you first, Joe. What do you have coming up as we're about to sign off now?
What do I got coming up? Like show-wise?
Show-wise, what do you have coming up?
Well, I got Welcome to the War Zone on Friday night. It's a Friday Night War spinoff where we bring people on and debate. Brian's been on there. We're going to bring you on pretty soon. And then we have Friday Night Wars, which is just me and my co-host, Sean. Mike on the mic. I shouldn't call him Sean. We call him Mike on the mic. Where we debate, and you guys can find that all on there.
Mike on the mic's first name is not Mike?
No, his name's Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels, like the wrestler. Boom, yeah. So it was very confusing for me to start calling him that, but yeah, it's a great show just like this, and I appreciate you guys letting me come on, and I had a lot of fun. Anytime I can go after Brian and I have somebody that backs me, I'll take it all day.
All day, Joe, all day. What's next up, Bolstered Up Sports?
Hey, well, that's all right, Joe, because you need that backing when you're going against me. That's all right. But actually, so what I've got coming up just tomorrow is Mike on the Mic and Joe Morley Sports on my show to recap the championship games after I'm sure Tom Brady wins. I'm just going to be pouring it on Joe all the time. And last thing I got to say, I just got to clear my name a little bit about like the Brady lover. The only time I go after people is when they just say things like he's the luckiest quarterback ever, or that any top quarterback could have won 6 Super Bowls with the Patriots.
Joe has a point, because that tuck rule is the worst ruling I've ever seen in my entire life of watching football. And I'm not saying that because Joe is here. I have never seen a ruling so devoid of explanation/logic like the tuck rule. But go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I don't get the point of the rule. Like, people don't. I think some people don't understand that they technically called it right based on the rule, but I don't get the purpose of the rule. But maybe that's a conversation for another time. But yeah, so I've got that podcast. It's going to be coming out soon. That's Bolstered Up Sports Podcast, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, anywhere. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. If the Packers make the Super Bowl, I've got to have you on for an episode, the week or so prior for a specific Super Bowl preview. You've got to come on.
Oh, without question. So you can just book my date now. I'm free. Like always, I'm just free. So just write me and pencil me in. For fans of this show, we're on every Monday night at the same space. So we will be reviewing those 2 games. Hopefully my Packers will, be going to Tampa instead of just Tampa going home to go to that Super Bowl. But yeah, so look forward to us at the same space on Monday night. So for Joe Morley and Brian Bolster, this is Just In. And coming for you from this Just In, we're signing out, guys. So have a great, great, great championship Sunday, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Justin.
I don't have a mark on my face, and I upset Johnny Liston, and I just turned 22 years old. I must be the greatest. I told the world, I talk to God every day. The God's with the king over here, just the same. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world.
I said, can I be a legend? Search your soul and answer me this question. Do you think I have what it takes to be great, but still be humble and learn from my mistakes? Shit.